Hey, 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 hey. Coach Chaz. Part number 2. Okay, 2 of 5. So again, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, I will be chatting the remainder of this 5-part series that is titled 5 Top Mistakes, in my opinion, of course, my humble opinion, 5 top mistakes that prevent leaders, but men and women over 40, to not only get in shape, to actually look firm, look strong, look healthy, but then probably the most important aspect about all this is to actually help keep the weight off. And understanding that you're going to have natural weight fluctuations. I get that, folks. But this whole thing about losing a shit ton of weight and then basically having to refrain, old habits come in, and your body's not set up so that you can actually help burn calories even while doing at rest, that's obviously a big component of all this. So last night, I chatted about dieting and why you shouldn't go down that road. Tonight, in my view, I addressed the elephant in the room, right, in terms of exercise. And for many people, you know this, you know where I'm going to go with this. I've talked about it many times, yet this form of exercise, strength training, just is not approached. It's not addressed. It's not, considered for many, or, which I'm going to kind of talk about, 6 components of resistance training. So sit back, enjoy, take a little sip of whatever, right? Have a laugh, okay? Is the very fact of muscle myths. That's where I'm going to start with. Because believe me, guys, females, but a little bit more female-oriented, have a fear, a significant fear, of strength training. One is the fear of bulk, right? Like, I don't want to look bulky. It's not the image that you may want. And so strength training is supposedly going to give you a bulky look, when probably if you woke up more defined, firm, less body fat, that would probably be somewhere where you probably would like to see your body or have your body or feel your body with. The bulking thing just is so far-fetched. It's so untrue. It's so far-fetched. I'm not saying that it can't happen, but those are experienced lifters that lift heavy weight, potentially may have a large frame in general, and they may just naturally have wider shoulders, and then adding a little bit more muscle may give that image of it. But this whole thing of bulk is just so sad that resistance training, strength training gets a completely bad rap. Everything around strength training, when you think about it, the fear of injury, the fear of hurting yourself, like basically putting extra pressure on your joints, right? The fear of bulking, the fear of messing up hormones. Like, females think, man, if I do resistance training, I'm going to get testosterone. I'm going to get hair on my body, right? The fear of not knowing what to do. And then, of course, the nutrition that comes with strength training, which is kind of like proteins and things like that. And it's funny, everybody just groups, I find personally, like strength training under like a bodybuilding image. It's kind of like, oh, you're taking a pre-workout, and then you're taking a protein shake, and you're taking creatine, and you're lifting heavy weights. Like, isn't that like the old bodybuilding steroids? Like, honestly, folks, that may sound so extreme to you, because one, you might completely move past that BS, and who here does any form of strength training? I would love to know, right? I know I kind of missed that at the beginning, but are you doing any strength training? And those that do, get it. They just do. But those that do not, I would say those things that I just listed out is fairly common. You probably may have this so-called fear of something, or believe in one of those myths, because it's touted. It's touted by certain weight loss programs. It's touted by certain female celebrity trainers, some TV stars. It's just touted that, hey, strength training is going to make you bulky and whatever. And it's so sad, okay? However, there's definitely some major, like I'm talking significant benefits. There's really limited risks. Let's just say that. Of course, like anything, you can risk yourself injury if you walk on the street because of cars. You could obviously have risks to hurting your knees or hips if you run, just because of what running does to the joints. You could clearly have increased your risk of having an injury when you do any form of activity, whether it's walking, shoveling, playing basketball, hockey, or obviously strength training. So the whole thing about thinking that, well, resistance training increases your risk of injury is BS, okay? Because we know that when you're talking about joint health, right, making sure that your joints are basically healthier, your bones are stronger. And again, I'm speaking for this series, I'm speaking to those over 40. You can certainly stick around for those that are under because, hey, if you're not 40, I'm guessing that you're going to turn 40 soon, okay? Or at some point. So the reality is what are you doing even, certainly if you're under 40, what are you doing now to kind of get you prepared for those years and then obviously much beyond, okay? So the big thing that I try to tell people first and foremost, hey, Nicole, is you got to kind of break past that noise. And know that, remember, what's the title of this series? It's not only to basically feel stronger and be fit, okay, but it's also what? To keep the weight off. And we know, because research shows it time and time and time again, out of all forms of exercise, all forms, yoga, cardio of any single kind, running, sprint, hits, whatever, / muscle training, weight training, strength training, you can all group it together, whether it's body weight, bands, dumbbells, machines, whatever you got. Resistance training, unlike the others, helps to keep the weight off. And it does it by a variety of things, but primarily, muscle is an active tissue. So if you have your twin literally sitting right next to you, and your twin is hypothetically 15% body fat, maybe 20-25% body fat for females, and maybe yourself is sitting at 30% body fat, maybe even 40 or 50%, or say 45% body fat. Well, then your twin, okay, is burning way more calories at rest, just for the very fact that they have more lean muscle. So forget about just even the aesthetics aspect about, say, strength training. You can burn more calories versus a cardio workout way after. I'm talking 24 to 48 hours after you are literally sitting home doing nothing. You are burning calories still when you do more or less high, I'll say intensity, and I don't just mean your heart rate going high. I'm talking about lifting good, challenging weight for you. When you do a really good, intense strength workout, you can burn calories up to 48 hours. That's not BS. That's actually proven. And also, you are burning calories when you're sitting down doing nothing when you have a more leaner frame, okay? So again, the whole image of basically looking fit potentially in your mind has to come by, you got to challenge your muscles. You cannot challenge your muscles by just getting on a stepper or doing an elliptical or doing a rower or going for a walk or doing a jog. Sorry, it can't. You can feel like your muscles are fatiguing, but it's obviously aerobic, so it's more breath work. That's the energy system. Strength training, you need to challenge your muscles. You just do. It can be done again using the stairs, grabbing, again, desk push-ups, wall push-ups if you're like brand new, really limited. Obviously, rehabilitation and your joints, your injuries have to be taken into account, folks. However, we all probably have posture issues, right? We all probably have somewhere in our body, if you're over 40, you have somewhere where it's probably either tight or discomforting from time to time, day to day. You probably do. And certainly once you get into the 50s, you've lost count how many probably aches and pains you get or injuries that you have. So again, just say, oh, I've got knee and hip pain. Well, you know what? I'm just going to lose weight by dieting and getting on and getting on the treadmill and just going. That doesn't solve anything. You will lose some weight, but you won't actually get your joints or your bones or your muscles stronger, and that's what you're after, okay? Another key component, body fat versus body weight. When someone says, man, I've lost, 20 pounds, ideally, you'd hope that is a big chunk of that 20 pounds is more body fat than, say, total body weight. Because what happens, and I mentioned this last night, what happens when you cut your calories, like significantly, and you do maybe walking or just cardio as your only form of exercise? What's going to happen? You're going to lose weight. You're going to definitely lose weight on the scale. But what also is happening? You're going to lose total body weight, which means you are actually breaking down muscle, because muscle needs to be used in terms of producing energy, to also lose the weight. So not only are you losing, yes, fat weight, you're losing muscle weight. And women, guys especially, but I should say women especially, but guys as well, once you start getting into the late 40s and 50s, you do not want to have less muscle than say what you do now. Even though I know age happens, you don't want to go into it basically already at a disadvantage, because you're going to be in pain, you're going to be skinny fat, or you're certainly just going to have a lot of loose skin, right? You're not going to be firm at all. And again, it's going to be so much harder for you to keep the weight off. That's the thing here, folks, is that, if you're looking for yourself to say, man, like I've been doing this for so long. I've been putting myself through the ringer. I've tried almost every single program you can imagine. And yet you just feel like, man, it's so hard. As soon as I take the foot off the gas pedal, like meaning as soon as you stop a diet or as soon as you stop doing any sort of cardio or whatever, it's like the weight quickly comes back. I mean, does that happen to you? And if it does, I would argue, one, the food that you're eating probably needs to be improved and from a metabolism standpoint, but it's because you haven't changed your body. You haven't increased your body fat percentage. And I've seen this, no joke. I've seen people send me literally their so-called health measures where they have lost, get this, I've seen people where they have lost 20 to 30 pounds, which is significant for anybody, right? 20 to 30 pounds, yet I've seen in multiple instances where the body fat actually went up slightly or it didn't change. Now, that tells you something, doesn't it? That if you're losing total weight, but yet your body fat percentage either doesn't move or it's going up, means that you're losing muscle mass as well as body weight. And that is I guess I can't stress the very fact that that is a huge no-no and you will not want that to happen, okay? So basically, when it comes to just looking at resistance training, you kind of got to just drop the barriers for a second. Like you really do. Hey, Chris, because I think that, I don't know, whether it's marketing, maybe, a former trainer, a former program, what you're reading on the net, I don't know, a friend, whoever has thought that, resistance training is going to make you bulky, it's going to, get you injured, or it's going to mess up your hormones or whatever, when in fact, it's certainly the golden nugget. Like it just is when it comes to your exercise form, okay? Now remember, again, if you look at yourself, again, no judging here, but if you look at yourself, what image do you have in your head as so-called the ideal shape? Like, what do you envision? Man, you know what? I'd like to look like that. I don't know if you have someone in the mind or you've had maybe your own self, but like 10, 15, 20 years ago, and you're like, I'd like to get back there. But look at yourself. Or what is it? What aspects of the ideal image kind of draws at you? And for most people, when you do strength training, in conjunction, folks, with cardio, I'm not saying only do strength training, folks. I'd be stunned if I said that. Right? Of course you should do cardio. It's great for the heart. It's great for the lungs. It can be good for the joints if you're doing a variety of stuff. It can be. But you got to watch when it's like the only form of cardio because it can elevate your cortisol and stress levels, which is basically shit for weight loss and fat loss. It just is, okay? But strength training gives you that firmness, right? Gives you that absolute firmness with abs, right? Muscles, women, long lines. I mean, everybody uses different words for muscle. But the reality is you be more defined, a bit more firmer, a bit more toned, defined, ripped, shredded, whatever, versus like skinny fat. And that's the thing. For many people, they might lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, but yet they're just grabbing the skin right off them. They're literally skinny fat. And I would imagine you probably do not want that. And again, it's not good for your metabolism, okay? So that's another key thing there. Burning calories, I already talked about that. Burning calories more at rest than and literally after workouts versus, say, traditional-based workouts, okay? And then finally, when it comes to reducing stress and also improving confidence. Now, again, if you reach this far, again, I always appreciate anybody sticking around. I didn't say that these were going to be short, okay? But I want to get out as much of the information as I can because I really feel, again, strength training, you might know a little bit about it, but there's also huge question marks for it. But the big thing I find is, hey, let's look at 2020. Most people's stress levels are through the fucking roof, and most people's confidence in their own ability pass by a mirror, and they don't even want to look at themselves, right? They kind of are like, they're just so shamed. Their self-esteem is down. If in the summer, when we had summer, okay, it was like, let's go to a beach, honey, and then, some people don't really care, but like you're kind of like, no, I'm going to keep my shirt on. I'm not even going to get in the pool, right? Confidence is huge, and some people don't want to admit it, but when I speak to some clients, when I'm on the phone with them, I hear everything, right? Colleen, skinny fat was me. There you go. And Colleen, you're definitely feeling stronger, right? You're feeling firmer, right? And that's key. But again, think about the aesthetic drop for a second. Now let's talk about how you feel probably your confidence-wise. And obviously, Colleen, I know you've had your experience in the past with like strength training and stuff like that, but there's no better feeling I find for men and women when they feel strong. And I get that. I ask them, what does strong, being strong, looking strong, feeling strong, what does it mean to you? And I hear a host of range of stuff. But for so many people, they just so feel like, I use the word empowered, but they use like they're Superman, Superwoman, right? Because they're kind of like, man, like that hard work is literally like you're chiseling your body. You're literally, your body's your work of art, right? And yes, with cardio, of course you can be lean, right? If you're wanting to train for a marathon, clearly you need to be leaner. But again, what is your goal? If your goal is not a marathon runner, well then, and if your goal is general health, less pain, but stronger body, you want to look good potentially, or just feel your best for your kids, for yourself, for your work, for your business, then strength training certainly needs to be right up there with other things, but it just absolutely does. Hey, Sandy. So again, going back to confidence and stress, like 2020, man, does it rock people. Well, you know what? Strength training, at least, this is like experience, but we know research shows that all forms of exercise help with stress management, depression, anxiety, and even confidence. So I want to say that off the hop. But strength training truly has a different level of component to it. Because when you feel like you've put in a really solid workout with weights, when you're really challenging your muscles, it's that after effect, not just the dopamine effect of after exercise, you feel amazing. I'm talking about what it truly does in terms of how you approach then your day, how you can be more mental resilient going through tough times, okay? Strength training does that better than any other form of exercise, right? And again, those that might be doing yoga, clearly, we all need yoga, especially the strength kind of muscle-bound people. We all need yoga more than anybody else. But yoga, again, in terms of, well, what's the purpose? What's the original response of yoga in terms of movement and balance and being within oneself and flexibility and breathing? That's what obviously yoga, now I know there's some advanced yoga, so I'm not, I understand that too. Pilates mixes resistance training, balance training, and obviously some yoga poses and certain movements. And then, of course, you have traditional strength training and then powerlifting and other things. But the reality is if you are a stressed individual or you really feel so-called like you have low confidence in your ability, man, like join a group class. Join a group, because I know there's some strongman groups in the city or powerlifting groups in the city, women-only strength groups in the city, right? It doesn't matter, but again, like I just see, because I've been doing this for 16 plus years, when I actually see people that completely had a fear of strength training and then yet I implement it either in person one-to-one or now obviously more online, and you hear them after a couple of weeks where they just were a little bit tentative, but then, you get that response back like, man, Ryan, like, I love this. Like, I can't wait to go up in the weight. Or they buy new weights, like actual weights, as like a badge of honor. It's like when you buy a new wardrobe for your fitness, you feel good about it. It sucks that you got to pay some money, but you feel good about it because, hey, you into new clothes. It's a rewarding expense, if you say. Strength training, kind of picking up new weights, or in the gym, progressing to the new machine or a new level of weights. That's a high, I don't care if you're young, you're old, you're male, you're female, you have experience, you're not, you're a CEO, or you're just kind of like a, literally a fresh graduate. It doesn't matter. When you feel stronger, it has a major, major effect. And I've seen it, like I said, I truly see it firsthand. And I just know that from a stress management, anxiety, and then confidence issue, man, does it ever. And that's the thing, folks, because you have your goals, right? Guaranteed right now you think, what are your top 2 goals? Like top 2 even, right? Heading into 2021, right? How will you want your fitness and body to perform and look like, right? Keep it in your head, right? But probably somewhere in there, how much confidence, do you have right now in your ability to either get there or also how you look and how you feel? Where's your confidence level? Is it ranked high or is it ranked freaking low? I would probably think it's maybe middle for some, mostly probably super low. You look at yourself and you're like, man, like life, kids, career, running my own business, like all these things come about. Absolutely, you can't change, or not necessarily you can change it, but things just happen. It is life. But the reality is you can build an amazing body literally at any age, because I've seen it, right? But the thing is with strength training, there's work involved. There's absolutely work involved. And you got to put your ego in your back pocket. For those guys, gals that may have lifted the 30-pound dumbbells, the 50-pound dumbbells, 200-pound, 300-pound deadlift, 200-pound bench press for some of you, and now you got to get back and like 100 pounds and you're like, oh my God, my joints, or you're grabbing those 5-pound weights or 10-pound weights and they're even challenging. Like, you got to put your ego in your back pocket, right? Hey, Jamie, you just do. And just everyone has their start point. Everybody has a fresh point. But you know what? Again, you can put yeah, weight on the scale is a metric. Your body fat percentage is a metric. Obviously, how your clothes feels as a metric. But you know what? Getting stronger and watching your progress, meaning you can lift the same weight for more reps, or you're actually now lifting more weight, is, again, I just said, I don't care who you are, what background you have in it. It's a feel-good thing when you know you're getting stronger, because immediately you know, right, that it's super, super good for you. And then ideally, if you're actually starting to see the physical changes in your body, man, it's massive. When I can show, basically when someone first starts with me, and then as those progress pictures kind of go about, you can just see either posture differences. Obviously, they're, for women, underneath the arm, underneath the bra line. For men, obviously, around the chest and the pecs. Clearly around the midsection for everybody. And then, of course, hips, a little bit more dominant in the female side. Thighs, right? Thigh size. All those things, right? Is that when you see changes, it's significant. Like, as you might even be like, fuck the weight scale, man. My weight hasn't moved, but yet I'm down 5% body fat, and look at the tone difference in me. That's where it's funny there, where the weight scale is then almost like tossed out the damn window because you're more concerned with how the body looks. And that's something to always consider to yourself, right? If you're so focused on the weight scale, one, you got to get out of that habit, right? Because you'll never really reach a level of satisfaction or happiness because of that one number, right? When the one number really kind of doesn't show, obviously, the big picture, okay? So strength training, bottom line, it helps improve hormone regulation, obviously estrogen, testosterone for women, obviously women under 40 primarily, or I should say women under 50, I should say primarily. But guys, when you're talking about growth hormone, testosterone, okay, I'm speaking to you gents right now, you can take, certain types of pomegranate, pumpkin seeds, right? You can take fertile, different drugs, right? You can do, some afternoon delight times, which certainly does help boost testosterone. But you know what? Sleep, quality sleep, and strength training are pretty much your biggest two when it comes to really elevating your testosterone levels. And guys, once you basically, like I said, hit a form where you're over 40, you're starting to lose muscle mass, you're high stressed, you're not getting enough sleep, you have basically big, weight on your front belly, your testosterone is basically down to nil. Honest to God, it just truly is. So you need to kind of, again, as I'm talking about these 5-part series, it's not just about exercise. It's also not just about, say, the food, or obviously why diets didn't work last night. You're going to see over the course of these, 5 nights that you got to really take into consideration all these things if you're truly serious about your freaking health and fitness goals. And if you're going to want to make 2021 kind of that year where you come out of it stronger, hopefully 2021 is way the heck better than 2020, but also that you feel, you move, and you look your absolute best. And don't say like, there he goes with looking your best. That's just like sales mongo. No, it's not. I've seen people that are 55, 60, literally cut down where they're down looking at their abs for the first time in their entire lives. I've seen women, right, get better than pre-kid shape when they're 40, 45. So it's not, you can't, right? You got to break past that can't barrier. You just got to know that, one, you need to put in the work. And remember, folks, I said this, I think, in a couple of days ago. COVID here in Newfoundland, it's slowly increasing. We know the trends. Everywhere else in Canada, way, way high. So again, if you're fearing that the gyms are going to close, or you already don't go to the gym, but yet you also don't have any equipment right now, and yet you are really trying to take a serious hold of your fitness heading into 2021, if you're going to listen to anything I say tonight, it's literally call up Spartan, or obviously some other, I know there's a place in Donovan's as well, Sportcraft. I want to support local first and foremost before you go online. Obviously, if you're watching from afar, choose someone local ideally, but basically look at, can you get a set of dumbbells, maybe like a heavier kettlebell in a band? If you can get those 3 things, at least if everything does shut down, you have that at your disposal, and you can get definitely crazy strong, and you can get in really good shape when you have at least some level of weight equipment. Now, right now, if you're not doing it, well, then obviously your first step is to incorporate body weight strength training, push-ups, lunges, single leg deadlifts, squats, single leg squats, bridges, single leg bridges, planks. Like those are like your big 7, 8, okay? That you can do without equipment, and then you progress. Frequency, in terms of how often should you do strength training of any kind, doesn't matter if you're novice or advanced, obviously 3 days a week is bare minimum, right? Monday, Wednesday, Friday is easy or whatever. But then if you really want to obviously enhance your muscles, really try to get your body fat down, then of course the 4th or the 5th day is definitely something that you want to add in. Plus the very fact that you need to look at how can you progress in weights. So again, if you're limited on what you have available to you, you either got to do more reps or you got to slow down each rep. That's really all you have to do. Unless you have access to weights that, basically can adjust or go up, or you have access to a gym, you're kind of limited, but you can still get a lot done. And anybody that tells you any different doesn't matter, right? Don't just say, whatever, or I don't know what to do, or it's too hard, I don't have equipment, I don't have a home gym. No, you can definitely do, basically just pick like 4 or 5 exercises, literally 4 or 5, and then just say, I'm going to do, 10 reps of each, and just do like 5 or 6 rounds. Like it's non-guesswork. I know the fact that you're doing 5 or 6 rounds, it seems like you're repeating a lot, but who cares about repeating a lot? If it's actually going to help with you in the end where you can get stronger and more defined, I would imagine that's probably not going to be a big issue once you do see and feel the differences of basically doing maybe things over and over and over, okay? But again, having more access to equipment allows for more versatility with your programming, but also gives you a chance to steady increase your strength, which naturally then obviously helps to really define your body, okay? So that, again, a lot to cover, okay? I know I'm trying to, get a lot in here, but to me, if you just look at these first 2 days, don't diet and obviously add in strength training. Like, eat better food, but control your shit, but you don't need to diet, and then add in resistance training. I would probably imagine about 70% of your results would come from just doing those 2 things without getting into the nitty gritty and the finite reps and sets and macros and all that kind of stuff. Because folks, for the average person, you don't need it. Okay. Now, if you're advanced and you've been losing a lot of weight and you've been doing this for 6 months, a year or beyond, well, then you need to maybe take a little bit more in an advanced, protocol to kind of really level up to the next thing. But if you're a beginner, you don't need all those fancy tools or fancy programmings. You just don't, because if anything, it's going to make you confused. Okay. So how was that? Did you get anything with that? Any questions? I didn't ask that last night, but any questions? Anybody that is so-called sticking around at the moment? Again, if you watch this on replay, why don't you just say, hey, I watched on replay. That would be greatly appreciated. But if you have a question, I'll just make note. You're amazing. Had amazing results the first week and look forward to going harder over the winter. And that's great. No doubt. And obviously, you had a little step there with life. You moved, and that's fine. But now, kind of like, let's make a really big push heading into Christmas. Okay? Raul, I'll miss you later. I have to go to the gym. Yeah, perfect, Chris. Deadly, buddy. Okay, so as I've been saying to last night, is that this is Black Friday week. Yes, it is. And so I have wicked. Never before, I did Black Friday last year, but I'm offering way better packages and deals this Black Friday than I did last year. And it's a big thanks. I've been, unfortunately blessed is a weird way of saying it in terms of COVID, because more people kind of went online. This has been clearly the best year that I've ever had, which, I'm super blessed. I'm grateful for the amazing clients that put their trust in me and their business. People that do shout outs and obviously spread word. I'm super blessed beyond that. But I also feel that, hey, some people, want to work with me, and sometimes they just can't because of various reasons. But it is something that, hey, right, I want to give as much as I can to people. So if you are interested and you're still watching me at this point, literally you can either below or ideally send a private message. Just send me a DM in Messenger with Black Friday Oz, Black Friday OZ, and I'll send you the details of what my Black Friday deals are. There's no better time to work with me than this week. So if you're interested, I'm only offering it this week up and until next Monday night. So again, appreciate the love, the support. If you want to share this, that's always appreciative because I am a small business as well. So tomorrow night, okay, I'm going to talk about specifically cardio. Okay, so I've already talked about dieting, why you need to. The second mistake is that people don't do resistance training appropriately or not at all. That was tonight. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to get into cardio and the impacts that cardio has from weight loss and also keeping the weight off. And then the other two are a little bit different that I'm going to come to kind of address on that regard. So anyways, folks, again, appreciate always the love and support. And if you got some questions that just some of the things that I mentioned in this, you're kind of like, man, that was over my head. He whipped it out. Then you can send me a private message and just say, hey, that point that you said about blank, can you just elaborate? Hey, I'm easy going, accessible. So if you need something answered that was a bit too confusing to you, hey, why don't you send it out to me? And finally, like really, finally, point number, PPS, is that, hey, you know, giving the gift of fitness. So Christmas is coming up, right? So you know what? 2021 is coming up. You kind of got to look at yourself and say, is really I'm going to go the same path? Or do you really need some help? Like honest, truthfully, professional help, trusted help, right? And being a part of obviously a supportive community, which my clients are, God bless them. We're all supportive of one another. So if you need that kind of community support, but also direct individual guidance, then again, you can find it online. Clearly, there's all around. But I always say, just make sure you know who you're getting it from, what's their background, what's obviously their proof, their proof of results, and just know that, you know what, if you're feeling confused, that you can't do this alone anymore, that you truly need help, which is not a bad thing to say that you need help, okay? Got to get past that, okay? Then honestly, just reach out and just say, hey, what do you even do? Who are you? If you're new to me, hey. But always there to basically, like I said, give a helping hand whenever possible. So again, tomorrow night, 8:30, same bat channel, same bat time, later.